Last summer, an Arizona woman turned $20 in Dollar Tree planters into a luxury patio piece. Weeks later, her HOA fined her. Then her insurance denied a claim after melted plastic and overheated cords caused damage. A cheap makeover became a $4,000 lesson. So how many viral garden DIYs are ticking time bombs? Fire officials and insurers are flagging risky outdoor setups nationwide. You might own one right now. And the worst offender? It's everywhere. Forbidden Garden hack number 5. The luxury plastic planter towers. Picture it. 3 lightweight plastic bins flipped upside down, stacked carefully. Spray-painted stone gray, topped with a faux marble tray. From across the yard, it looks like a $300 pedestal planter. It cost $15. It feels harmless. Until July hits 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Most discount plastic containers aren't UV stabilized. Under prolonged heat, low-density plastic softens. It warps. It becomes brittle. I add 40 pounds of wet soil and trapped irrigation water, and you've created slow structural failure. The base bows inward. The stack shifts a fraction of an inch each day. You don't notice it. Until gravity does. Now imagine it tipping onto a glass patio table. Shattered surface. Flying shards. Or worse, landing on someone's bare foot during a barbecue. Here's where it escalates. In multiple U.S. states, property damage linked to improperly constructed outdoor fixtures can fall under homeowner negligence clauses. If the item wasn't manufactured or rated for load-bearing outdoor use, insurers can question liability. Claims get delayed, sometimes denied. And HOAs? Many neighborhood associations prohibit temporary or non-architectural materials in visible landscaping. That spray-painted stack may qualify. What started as a Pinterest-worthy upgrade becomes a violation letter taped to your mailbox. But structural failure isn't the only threat, because the moment you decide to run wiring through that hollow plastic core, for lights, speakers, or a fountain pump, you've turned decorative instability into something far more dangerous, and heat plus electricity never negotiates. Forbidden Garden hack number 4. DIY outdoor string light columns. You've seen it. Plastic laundry baskets filled with decorative rocks. A PVC pipe inserted upright through the center. Dollar Tree string lights spiraled tightly from base to top. Instant backyard cafe vibes. Warm glow. Soft ambiance. Instagram ready. It looks romantic. It's not electrical code compliant. Here's what most people miss. Many discount string lights are clearly labeled indoor use only. That tiny line on the packaging isn't decorative. It's a liability boundary. Indoor rated lights aren't sealed against moisture intrusion. When exposed to humidity, irrigation spray, or overnight condensation, water can seep into the socket housing. You won't see it happening. But inside that tiny plastic casing, corrosion begins. Metal contacts oxidize. Resistance increases. Heat builds. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission reports thousands of residential fires each year involving extension cords and temporary lighting setups. And a significant percentage involve misuse in outdoor environments. Now imagine this. A late summer thunderstorm rolls in. Rainwater trickles down the PVC column. One cracked bulb socket fills with moisture. The extension cord beneath the rocks is slightly frayed. It doesn't spark dramatically. It smolders. You're asleep. The electrical fires linked to extension cords often begin within walls or beneath decking, where airflow feeds heat before smoke is visible. By the time a breaker trips, if it trips, ignition may already be underway. And here's where the stakes escalate. In many municipalities, permanent or semi-permanent outdoor lighting installations must comply with National Electrical Code standards. That includes proper weather-rated fixtures, ground fault circuit interrupter, GFCI, protection, and approved wiring methods. A DIY column plugged into a basic power strip doesn't qualify. If investigators determine that a non-rated product was used in a way inconsistent with manufacturer instructions, liability can shift squarely onto the homeowner. Insurance adjusters don't ask whether it looked beautiful. They ask whether it met code and manufacturer guidelines. And if the answer is no, coverage disputes follow. You saved $40 on Decor. You may have risked thousands in structural damage. But there's another layer most people never consider: load. These viral DIY columns are often daisy-chained together. 2, 3, 4 units connected end-to-end. Extension cords stretched across grass. Outdoor outlets shared with patio heaters or speakers. Imagine hosting a party. Everything plugged in. The line overloaded just slightly beyond capacity. The breaker doesn't trip immediately. Instead, wires heat slowly. Insulation softens, and failure builds quietly. The danger isn't cinematic. It's incremental, and incremental damage is harder to detect. Lighting feels harmless because it glows softly. But when moisture, overload, and improvised construction combine, cozy can turn into combustible. And if you think water features are safer because they don't involve exposed bulbs, they introduce electricity directly into standing water, and that's where the risk multiplies. Forbidden Garden hack number 3. The $25 stone fountain illusion. Stacked plastic bowls. Spray foam carved into fake stone texture. Painted in layered grays to mimic poured concrete. From 5 feet away, it looks custom. From 10 feet away, it looks expensive. Fill it with water. Drop in a small submersible pump from a discount bin. Suddenly, your patio sounds like a boutique hotel courtyard. It feels sophisticated. But most of these DIY fountains share the same hidden flaw. They're not weather-sealed for long-term outdoor exposure. Cheap sealants and foam coatings degrade rapidly under ultraviolet light. After a few weeks of direct sun, microscopic cracks begin forming in the protective layer. You won't see them at first. They're hairline fractures, barely visible. Water finds them anyway. It seeps downward through the foam texture. It collects along the seams of stacked plastic bowls. Eventually, it reaches the cavity where wiring connections sit. Now imagine that pump short-circuiting. Electricity and standing water are never casual acquaintances. Even low-voltage systems can spark, arc, or overheat when exposed to internal moisture. According to the U.S. Fire Administration, electrical malfunction remains one of the leading causes of residential fires, and outdoor add-ons significantly increase risk when not properly rated or installed. But here's where this escalates beyond fire. DIY fountains often circulate water poorly. Discount pumps clog easily with debris, algae, or foam particles breaking down inside the structure. When circulation slows, water stagnates. Stagnant water becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes within days. In states like Florida, Texas, and Louisiana, mosquito control authorities actively monitor standing water hazards due to West Nile virus and other mosquito-borne illnesses. Homeowners have received citations for neglected water features that create breeding environments. You thought you built ambiance. You may have built a code violation. And there's more. As foam deteriorates, fragments can wash into surrounding soil. Low-cost spray foams and paints aren't designed for continuous water exposure. Over time, degraded particles enter nearby planting beds. Now imagine herbs planted beside it. You're not just decorating, you're introducing materials never tested for that environment. And here's the most deceptive part. Paint hides damage. You repaint it each season. It looks fresh. It looks solid. But underneath, the structural integrity weakens. The bowls soften. The base shifts. Electrical components age in damp conditions. It doesn't fail loudly. It fails gradually. Quick pause. If you've ever tried one of these hacks, comment below which one looked too good to be true. Let's see how many of us almost fell for it. Because the next DIY doesn't just sit on your patio. It touches your soil and possibly your health. Forbidden garden hack number 2, painted concrete, plastic garden edging. It's trending everywhere. Flexible plastic garden edging, bent into smooth curves, spray painted to look like aged limestone or weathered slate. From the sidewalk, it looks professionally installed. Clean lines, defined borders, elevated curb appeal. For under $25. But here's what most people don't think about. Many low-cost plastic landscape borders are manufactured for short-term decorative use, not prolonged exposure to extreme heat, irrigation systems, fertilizer runoff, and direct soil contact. To make plastics flexible and cheap, manufacturers often use additives and plasticizers that were never designed for food-adjacent environments. Under intense sun, especially in drought-prone states like Arizona, Nevada, and parts of California, UV radiation accelerates polymer breakdown. The surface becomes brittle. Microfragments form. Irrigation water carries those fragments directly into the soil bed. Now imagine this. You've planted basil, mint, tomatoes. They're thriving inches away from edging that's slowly degrading. The Environmental Protection Agency regulates materials approved for agricultural soil and food contact environments. But DIY residential landscaping operates outside that structured oversight. No inspector evaluates what's leaching into backyard beds. No labeling warns you about long-term soil migration. And degradation doesn't happen dramatically. It happens quietly. Spray paint adds another layer. Most general-use spray paints are not rated for soil contact durability. As paint chips under sun and watering cycles, pigments and binding agents enter the surrounding dirt. Over time, color fades and residue accumulates. But environmental risk isn't the only escalation. In drought-sensitive regions, irrigation precision matters. When plastic edging warps or cracks, it shifts. Small gaps form along the border. Water escapes the intended bed and flows outward. Now imagine that happening week after week. Runoff increases. Soil compacts. Nutrients wash away. Roots weaken. You compensate by watering more frequently, increasing both water bills and strain on already restricted municipal supplies. In states enforcing water conservation measures, improper runoff can even violate local landscaping ordinances, especially in HOA-regulated neighborhoods where water pooling and erosion affect shared areas. It doesn't explode. It doesn't spark. It slowly compromises, and slow compromise is more dangerous because it feels invisible. A cracked light column is obvious. A short-circuited pump smells like smoke. But soil degradation? That unfolds beneath the surface, season after season. You see beautiful stone-like borders. Yet you don't see microplastic accumulation, paint breakdown, irrigation inefficiency, or long-term soil imbalance. The transformation video showed a perfect before and after. It didn't show year 3. And as subtle as soil damage is, it still isn't the most volatile DIY on this list. Because nothing escalates risk faster than Decor combined with open flame. And that's where the illusion becomes genuinely dangerous. Forbidden garden hack number 1. The faux high-end fire bowl. Oh, it looks stunning. A large plastic planter, matte black or faux concrete, filled with sand for weight. Topped with a metal bowl insert, gel fuel cans hidden neatly inside. From 5 feet away, it mimics a $600 designer fire feature. You built it for under $30. It feels clever, elevated, luxurious. Now imagine this. A warm evening. Wind gusts at 15 miles per hour. Flames flicker higher than expected. Gel fuel burns hotter than most people realize. As the metal insert heats up, that heat transfers downward. Sand traps warmth. Plastic, even thick plastic, begins softening at temperatures far lower than open flame produces. You don't see it melting at first. It warps slowly beneath the surface. Then the base shifts. And when it shifts, the flame shifts with it. The National Fire Protection Association reports thousands of outdoor fire incidents annually involving heating equipment and decorative flame devices. While many are linked to manufactured units, the improvised backyard setups introduce unpredictable variables, non-rated materials, unstable bases, improper clearances, and clearance is everything. Many states and municipalities enforce setback regulations for open flame features, often requiring them to be placed a minimum distance from structures, fencing, and overhead coverings. Violating these local fire codes can result in fines. More importantly, if property damage occurs and the device is determined to be non-compliant or constructed from non-fire rated materials, insurance carriers may dispute or deny claims. Now imagine investigators examining melted plastic fused into patio pavers. The report doesn't say DIY creativity. It says non-approved open flame device. If the base material isn't fire rated, you haven't just built decor. You've created a melting ignition source, and wind multiplies risk. A sudden gust pushes flame toward a fence panel. Heat reflects back into the planter. Plastic softens further. Structural integrity fails. The metal insert tilts. Burning gel shifts position. It doesn't take an explosion. It takes imbalance. Fire marshals in several U.S. cities have issued public warnings about improvised backyard fire features, particularly those constructed from materials never designed for sustained heat exposure. Social media may showcase the aesthetic. Fire departments see the aftermath. You wanted atmosphere. You may have built a hazard. And here's the most unsettling part. It doesn't look dangerous. It looks beautiful. It photographs well. It glows softly. It feels controlled. Until it isn't. Because danger rarely announces itself in obvious ways. Sometimes it hides inside something that feels luxurious, affordable, and harmless. A planter, some sand, a flicker of flame, and the illusion that because it looks high-end, it must be safe. That illusion is where the real risk begins. We started with a $20 planter makeover. We uncovered insurance denials, electrical fire risks, mosquito fines, soil contamination, HOA violations, and open flame hazards. Cheap doesn't mean harmless. DIY doesn't mean compliant. Pretty doesn't mean safe. That Arizona homeowner thought she was upgrading her patio. She was unknowingly voiding her protection. Now ask yourself, is there anything in your yard right now that wasn't designed for the job you gave it? Because next time, we're exposing the indoor DIYs that could be violating building code inside your own home. Save money wisely. Or pay for it later.